Okay, so let's start with the home screen. And today we're going to open up a new document. So we're not going to be working in Scratchpad. We're going to go to a document. So click New. And it might ask if you want to save. I never save unless I need to go into something that I used earlier, but I'm not going to save my work. So I'm going to say no. It's going to open up a new page and it's going to ask me what kind of page I want to create. So I'm going to create a calculator page. Everybody there? Okay, see what we're doing here. So we're going to start with a function. The top of your paper, you'll see it says 2x squared plus 5x plus 2 is our function. So in the past, if I said we're going to evaluate f of a number, so let's do f of 1, what would we do with that 1? Plug it in for x. So we would do 2 times 1 squared plus 5 times 1 plus 2. So that would give me 2 plus 5 plus 2. That gives me 9. So f of 1 is equal to 9. So let's learn how our calculator will do that for us. So that's a pretty easy one. But if I want, let's say I had a list of numbers I wanted to evaluate, that would take me a while. If I had to, let's say I had 10 numbers I needed to plug in for x and solve, it would take us a little bit, especially if they were like decimals or fractions or large negative numbers. So our calculator will do all of this. We just have to tell the calculator what the function is. So I'm going to write that in my calculator, the f of x. So right down at the bottom, you'll see your letters. Type in f. Use your parentheses, which are over by the 0 of x. Now we're not going to use the equal sign. We're going to use a different symbol. So we want to tell our calculator that we want f of x to equal that polynomial over there. So I'm not going to use the equal sign. I'm going to use the 1. I'm going to circle it up here. I'm going to use, it's right above this button by the 9 in the blue. That's the symbol. It's a colon and then an equal sign. That is the symbol for let equal. So I'm going to do control and that button. So we're going to let f of x equal. Now we're going to plug in the 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. So 2x, x is down at the bottom, squared plus 5x plus 2. And press enter, and it should say done. So that successfully saved that function in our calculator. Now, anytime I type f of x, it's going to remember that that's what it is. I can type it in right now, f of x, press enter, and it pops back with that. So now I can evaluate. You see there's a T chart up at the top there. There's a table of values. We can enter those values in. I can find f of -2. Press enter. What else do I want us to find? F of -1. We're going to find f of 0. F of 0.5. And then f of 1. What the heck? Did I not type it in right? Well, no wonder the answer. What did I type in? Oh, I'm missing the 2x squared. Oh, okay. Well, this is an easy fix. So I'm going to go back up to the top, press enter. Use that. Press enter, put in a 2. I'm going to repeat all my work, but I'm just going to cheat and go up to the top and pull them down. did it earlier today. It was something else. 1.5 half of 1. Okay, now I got the right answers. So go ahead and fill those out in your table of values. So we've got 0, -1, 2, 5, and 9. So this is one method. This actually isn't the method that people use most often. There's actually a method that people prefer, and that's the graphing method. So what I want you to do is we're going to add a page up at the top here. So to add a page, we do Control Doc. Doc is up in the top right-hand corner. So Control Doc. We're going to add a graph page. Now, so I don't have to type in 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. My calculator already knows that that's f of x. I can just say graph f of x. And then hit enter, and you should get a parabola show up. Everybody get that to show up? Anybody need help? Okay. Now, anytime we want to calculate something with a graph, the easiest thing to do is go to menu. We're going to go to trace, and we're going to go to graph trace. I'll leave that up there in case you still need to see it. So it's menu, trace, graph trace. Show you what that means. Get it? So you're going to see this little X pop up with this little, let's see if I can do this. Yep. With this little circle there. Now, if you use these little arrows on near your cursor, if you use the right and left arrow, you can scroll throughout your parabola and you can see different parts. So you probably did this last year, maybe. Did you do this last year? Okay. Okay, then not. But this is great because when you use trace, it already tells you all the important parts of your graph. So it pops up with the little yellow boxes. I can see my y-intercept. I can see my 0 where the graph crosses the x-axis. I can see the minimum. I can see the other 0, and that's it. The other nice thing about trace is that it'll also evaluate the function for you. So type in from this screen, just type in -2. So that negative by the enter sign, -2. Press enter. It takes you exactly to that point, and it tells you the answer is 0. So 0 is what we got in our chart there. My next number that we tested was -1. So type in -1, press enter. It takes you right to -1, and it tells you the answer is -1. We did 0, which is 2. We did 0.5, which was 5. And then we did 1, and we got 9. It'll also automatically zoom in and out depending on what point you're looking at. This is a really fast way to get a lot of points quickly. So the first one was easy, but this is actually a little easier. There's also a third way. I'll show it to you real quick, but you don't have to do it at the same time as me because most people don't use this way. The other way is your calculator will generate a table of values. You go to menu, table, split screen, and it has the table of values. The bad thing about this is it just does whole numbers. So if I wanted to know like 0.5, I'd have to go in and change the settings for the table to give me that value, and it's kind of a pain. It's a lot of work. So I never use the table of values. And if I don't use it, I probably don't expect you guys to use it. It's definitely more work. Okay, so let's flip to the back. Let's try one together. Let's go back to our other tab. So you can use your little cursor, tab over to it. The other thing you can do is control up arrow. Control up arrow shows you all the tabs that you have open, and you can just click which tab you want from there. So if you've got like 10 tabs open, that's an easy way to switch between them. Now I'm going through this quick, so if you forget something, just let me know. So let's do one that's a little bit more tricky. We don't want to do a straight line. Let's do number 3 together. So let's start by telling our calculator what f of x is. So f of x equals, we want to use that equal sign by the 9. Oh, make sure you don't do what I did and go outside of that parentheses there. X to the third minus 4x squared plus 2x plus 1. Click done. Now, the nice thing about this is now what I want you to do is click over to your graph page. Your graph page has already adjusted the graph to your new f of x. Overwhelming with graphing calculator things today. So notice how my graph is off center. I can fix that pretty quickly. Go to menu. You're going to go to window. Window is what you see in your calculator. We want to see something different. So I'm going to click that and I'm going to do standard. That recenters the graph for you. Okay, so now I want to get some points. I want to fill out my chart here for number 3. So I'm going to go to menu, trace, graph trace. And I'm just going to type in those numbers. So -1 is my first number. That gives me -6. So I'm going to write that down on my chart. Do I get -6? Okay. 0 is my next one. I get 1. 1 is my next one. We get 0. 2 is my next one. We get -3. Okay, the best way to draw my sketch, so I'm going to do it on the chalkboard so I can see it at the same time like you guys can. When I draw a sketch of a graph, we always want to include the most important parts. So my calculator tells me what those are. Those are those yellow boxes that pop up. So I'm going to use my arrow. I'm going to go left and right, and I'm going to look for those little yellow boxes to pop up. So I can see my graph crosses a 3.3. I'm going to plot that on my sketch. If I scroll to the left, I see I have a minimum at 2.39, -3.42. I'm going to estimate about where that is. It doesn't have to be. Decimals are really difficult to graph. Put it right about here. I've got a 0 at 1. I've got a maximum at 0.279, 1.27. And then I cross over again at -0.3. I can also add in those points from my chart too, if I want to add some extra points to help my graph be nice and clear. So we had -1, -6, 0, 1, 1, 0, 2, -3. So now I'm going to draw my sketch. And there's my graph. Somebody was traced last year? Okay. How'd you get your maximum in there? By hand, always? Using the table. Do you use the calculator's table? Okay. Which is what I never use. No, probably it's the CX? Oh man, so you just have to type it in. That's not a big deal. Same with you, Alyssa. Did it not transfer over? No. No, so you just have to type it in again. When you go to your practices after that, just type the whole function in. Wait, you're not the same as well. Okay, so let me use oh yeah, you're missing. You're missing a lot. You're missing square. Okay, that's why though. Oh, now you'll be fine. That's why. I don't know what happened. Oh, 2x. Yeah, that's why though. Anybody else need help? No, good. Okay, we'll stop there. If you borrowed a calculator, make sure you put it back in the right spot. For those of you that have the ones that are checked out, you guys can bring those home. This is all fixed. Regan, do you have a calculator too?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one. It's just one of those CIs ones, and I didn't know what happened in it.
Oh my god. We'll be fine. A little different. Oh, you all survived your first week. All right. Don't forget, over the weekends, you have 4 days off, so head to Walmart or wherever you're going and get yourself a binder for class. Okay. Anna, did I already buy a chocolate bar from you? I did. Well, does anybody else have? I feel like you need to share the wealth in here. Who else has candy bar box? You're the only one, then you're the only one who can buy it.
The photo of the hallway really made her stop. I have 0. I mean,
No,